Welcome you to this program of Health Living, Umoyo Watu. In this program, we're going to be talking about various issues that affect the body, our well-being. It includes fitness, the food that we eat, the mental state that we're in, and how we can prevent so many diseases, non-communicable diseases, and so many other diseases. My name is Sarah Mokondeta. And in our first segment today, we're going to be joined by Zaitwa Fabiano, a research scientist from College of Medicine, who's going to shed more light on non-communicable diseases. Welcome to the segment, Zai.
Thank you very much.
Firstly, what are non-communicable diseases?
All right, so as it says in itself, non-communicable diseases are diseases that cannot be transferred from one person to another, or from a vector or from an animal to a person. So for example, most people are aware of things like malaria, flu, where you get malaria from an insect or you get a flu from another person. While non-communicable diseases develop within one person's body and cannot be transferred within a community.
Okay.
So the key thing about non-communicable diseases mainly is that it's insidious onset, which means it develops very slowly, and also because it's quite silent. It's a silent epidemic, which is very important because what happens is most people are not even aware that they're developing or that they have non-communicable diseases. Because
Maybe what are the examples before you go far?
All right, so let's say for example hypertension, BP, utamanga magazi.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of people who are actually walking around, but they don't know.
They don't know they have BP.
Exactly.
So it just sort of develops like, is it like hereditary or what?
So there are two sides to it. There are the non-modifiable things, which could be hereditary, genetic, but that's a small component. The big component, which is what I'd really like to focus on, is the modifiable risk factors. So the way that we live our lives, the things that we do, that can make us exactly. That can make us then develop these non-communicable diseases. Yes.
So maybe what are the key issues in terms of non-communicable diseases? What exactly happens?
All right, so there are different processes because there are different types of non-communicable diseases. So I'll just say there are 4 categories. There are the cardiovascular, which means those which deal with the heart and the blood, such as hypertension. That's when people get things like strokes, heart attacks. And then the second group is the cancers. We've heard of cervical cancers, esophageal cancers. The third group is diabetes, high blood sugar. And the last one is these chronic lung diseases, such as asthma.
Okay.
But then the common thing about these things is that usually what causes them are these risk factors, these modifiable risk factors, which is where now we talk about the nutrition, the unhealthy diets. People are eating a lot of salt, a lot of sugar, a lot of fats. This thing about inactivity, people not exercising enough. And most people think that because I'm slim or I'm lean,
I'm good to go.
Exactly. No, you still need to exercise so that your body can be very fit and your organs are healthy. Another thing is also the stress. A lot of people are stressed these days. We have pressure from work, office, family. So the mental health is very important. It also puts you at risk of getting these NCDs. Another thing is also alcohol. If you take a lot of excessive drinking, alcohol abuse is also a risk factor for NCDs. And also another thing is the tobacco, smoking cigarettes. That's also another major risk factor for NCDs. So that's where you find that they're common. All these 4 categories, they're all really caused mainly
by those things that you've mentioned.
Exactly.
And so the easier thing, as you've mentioned, that some of these things, they're induced, if you could say.
Yes.
So how can one prevent?
So first
not drink, not smoke.
Okay, so I mean it's a personal choice.
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing firstly is awareness.
Yeah.
Because as I said, there are a lot of us walking around. I mean, I could even have high blood pressure, but I don't know.
But you know the thing, Zai, before you go on further, back in the day, well, maybe to speak for myself, you would say BP is
Exactly.
What happened? What happened to life?
Exactly. So that's a very good point because that's what people say. And BP is sugar. Amadwala is Western world.
Yes,
the rich
and actually
people,
sugar and the
white people. But things have changed. With westernization, urbanization, people having more access to money and resources. You find in the morning you're having sima with eggs, or you're having chips and egg, right? At lunchtime you're having chiwaya. In the evening you're having zibwente. Then you're having nyama penapaki.
And then you're drinking.
You're drinking excessively. So because people have access to this lifestyle now, people are at risk of having these NCDs. And actually you find that 3/4 of these NCDs, they're not even in the Western world. They're in low and middle income countries like Malawi.
Oh, really?
Yes, they actually are. But people don't know because they think I'm slim, therefore it's fine.
Yeah.
Yes, but that's why awareness is important, firstly. People need to know. So you need to read about it, ask your doctor, go to your hospital, find out.
Yeah. Is it maybe issue of checkups, as you say, awareness?
Exactly. So the second thing is now you're aware. Now you've heard about this. You know you're at risk, right? What do? You go for screening. So all our health facilities, be it private, public, they have facilities for screening. So you go and say, I just want to get my blood pressure checked. So you get your blood pressure.
So anybody can do that.
Not even anybody. Everybody should
do that.
Should do that. So make it a list. Make it a point for yourself.
Yeah.
Annually, once a year, twice a year, and especially you mentioned about it being genetic. If you know you have a family member who has or had blood pressure, diabetes, you are at a higher risk. So which means you should actually go more often to the hospital and make it a point to tell your doctor to say, my brother or my sister has or had hypertension.
Be intentional.
Exactly. So please check me too.
Maybe what are the common non-communicable diseases in Malawi?
All right. So the main ones are the ones we've said: hypertension, kutamanga magazi, BP. There was a study that was done in 2009, STEP study, which showed that about 40% of the population actually has hypertension. But the sad thing is, of this 40%, the majority didn't even know.
They didn't know.
They didn't know that they had it. It was only when they were doing the study that they found it. But even of the ones who knew, they weren't taking the medication.
All right.
Yes.
To wrap it up, overall, what sort of lifestyle can one live to avoid these?
All right, so to avoid these things, first thing, awareness, you've heard the message. Secondly, a balanced diet, good nutrition, exercise, reduce stress, reduce your salt, take alcohol in moderation, and tobacco is not good for the body.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much. That's all we had in this segment of non-communicable diseases. I hope we've learned one or two things which we'll take home and put to use. Thank you so much, Sai, for coming in. We now get to the segment of mental health, and I'm joined by Devi Namusanya, who is a social scientist at Malawi Liverpool Wellcome Trust, an affiliate of College of Medicine. Welcome.
Thank you.
In this segment, if you could briefly tell us what is mental health? It seems to be a common sentence these days, mental health.
Well, I think most of the times how we get to understand mental health, we actually understand it from a perspective of comparing mental health and mental illness. A lot of people confuse these words. Yeah. But then if we have to only focus on mental health, then mental health is the state of being at peace with yourself, being at peace with the world. There are upsets in life, but then even the way you react and respond to such upsets in life is different with somebody who doesn't have good mental health. So we're not talking about mental health as well, we're talking about good and bad mental health. So good mental health is being at peace with the world, being at peace with yourself, and being able to process events that happen in life in a healthy way.
So we can narrow it down, or we can say it's just the lifestyle, the way a person lives day-to-day life? Thoughts, maybe. What is involved in mental health?
Yes, it can be the lifestyle, but not only the lifestyle. There are a number of factors that come in. It's the lifestyle, it's even the social aspect of it, the way we relate with the wider community, the way we live with the wider community, the way we live even with ourselves. So for example, if I can use an example of people who commit suicide, they have got bad mental health. That's mostly about themselves, not always about how they are relating with the society that they are coming from. Yeah.
And you mentioned of good mental health and bad mental health. Maybe what constitutes a good mental health?
What constitutes a good mental health is the ability to process events that happen to you in a healthy way. For example, if there is an upsetting event that has happened to you and then you are able to get over it pretty much quickly, pretty much normally, then that's good mental health. Bad mental health, on the other hand, is when you are failing to process those events. What makes us say that that's not how a normal person would react is what is bad mental health.
That's true, because sometimes you see a situation happens to someone and they react differently.
Yeah.
Maybe on how to live in terms of mental health. What are the attributes that a person has good mental health? What are the characteristics? Or is there like a certain thing that happens to someone or something that is done to them for them to actually have good mental health? Are you born with good mental health?
Oh, well, that's a debate actually, because there are times when you are born with bad mental health because it's a psychological issue, it's a biological issue, so you're born with it, yeah. And then there are also some other times when it's the society that you are in that actually exerts so much pressure on you, takes away the coping mechanisms on you, and then it's bad mental health that develops out of the society that you have been in. Maybe even from a place of denial, the society denies that there is such a thing as bad mental health. And you can really feel it, that this is bad mental health for me, I'm in a bad place. But then the society is denying that. You are left with no option than for that situation to degenerate. So it's both something that can be obtained along the way, and obtained is not such a kind word, but it's something that you can get along the way. Also, it's something that you're actually born with.
Should we say, is it like a disease?
It is a disease.
Okay.
It is a disease. It is, that's bad mental health. It is a disease. It is an illness like any other. Yeah.
And maybe as a country, in terms of awareness, how good or what's the state of awareness in terms of mental health in Malawi?
Well, I would say that the awareness is bad, sadly, but it is bad, really. If you go to the mental hospital, the narratives around mental illness in Malawi, even the Chichewa word for it, we say "Gudu muntu amisala." Just by using that word, we are already stigmatizing that person who wants to be associated with muntu amisala. If somebody would come and say, okay, I had to go to the mental hospital, say to get antidepressants, and this person is functioning properly, what we are going to understand is this person can't function, can't hold a job, can't hold a family. So our levels of awareness really are that bad because of the language that we use to describe mental illness.
Maybe also the state in which we can handle such cases as a country. How far are we? Because as you have mentioned, to say if somebody goes to a clinic or a hospital to access antidepressant medicine, there's already stigma against them to say, I think uyuyu akubenga misala, or they're failing to handle issues in their life.
Yeah. Well, I think we are really far, and that's not just at a communal level. It even goes even to the policy level. We have got, quite an insignificant number of psychiatrists. People have been trained to deal with mental health issues. There is that aspect of denial from our communities, even in terms of policy. The policy that we use in terms of mental illness is actually outdated. It's a colonial policy, and there hasn't been any revision to it up to date. So it starts from the policy, at the community, even at family level. If you have to say at home that, oh, really, I feel depressed, don't expect that you're going to be helped, really. What people are going to say is, get over it. Exactly. There was a point when I was doing a research on depression, and then somebody said, my brother said he can't come. The brother is in another country, said he can't come because he was depressed. We were all shocked because that illness is for white people. So we still have that mentality. And it even influences policy, it influences even our responses to it.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Thank
information.
You.
That's all we had in this segment of Mental Health with Dave Namsanya from Malawi Liverpool Wellcome Trust, an affiliate of College of Medicine. Moving on with the program, we now go to the segment of nutrition, and with me is Yanko Kaimira, who is a nutritionist from College of Medicine. Welcome to the segment.
Thank you very much.
First of all, if you could just give an overview of what is nutrition.
Nutrition is a field of study that looks at the way the human body responds to nutrients that is coming from food. So it looks at food from the time that it is eaten and taken into the body all the way up until it is being processed and digested and then absorbed for different body uses. Yes.
And we hear of things like you need nutrients in your body, you need to have a balanced diet. What is a balanced diet?
Okay, so a balanced diet is essentially a combination of different foods that enables you to take in all the necessary nutrients that your body requires. So there are different types of nutrients that your body requires. You have micronutrients, which are required in smaller amounts, and then you have macronutrients that are required in larger amounts, and these are fats, carbohydrates, and proteins. And then you have got minerals that are also required in small amounts. So when we talk about a balanced diet, we're talking about a diet that incorporates both macronutrient intake of all three and then all the micronutrients as well. And that comes by taking different types of foods. Here in Malawi, our diet is based on 6 food groups. The first one are vegetables, which is very obvious. And then we're talking about biru, Chinese, cabbage, carrots, beetroot, all of them. They're good for your health. And then the second one is fruits. You're talking about mananasi, you're talking about
Mangoes.
mangoes, strawberries, all of them.
Yeah.
Just as much as possible, try to avoid those that come in cans, take them whole. Then we talk about the legumes and nuts. So with the legumes and nuts, we're talking about beans, peas, and then we're talking about peanuts, macadamia nuts. The fourth one being animal source foods. So this can be milk, eggs, and then foods from meats like mbewa, and you can talk about beef, mutton, whatever form of meat that you can have, even including zitete, they are all an animal source of food. Then the next one is dealing with staples. We know very much here in Malawi, our staple is nsima. So you have nsima, you have rice, you have cassava, and other grains like millet and sorghum. So all these, they make up a balanced diet because they incorporate all the foods that you need to take in order for your body to function optimally.
We can say with the social media trained, and a lot of technology, people are now going into this thing of diet. Not diet as what you just explained, but going on a diet to lose weight, to gain weight. And the most common one, I would say from the top of my head, is banting. How can one balance in terms of I'm dieting to actually have a good body, but to also be nutritious?
Okay. So things like banting, which have become very popular here in Malawi and in most of Southern Africa, just incorporates a high fat intake, medium protein intake, and a low carbohydrate intake. As we said, because you require all those 6 food groups, because they are helping you to become more healthy overall, what you need to do is to make sure that when you are dieting, you're still incorporating all the healthy foods. So even on a diet, you need to make sure you're taking, as I said earlier, on all your macronutrients, and then you're taking in all your micronutrients. The best is to have a very colorful plate. We say eat as though you're eating a rainbow. It should be as colorful as possible, because that helps you to manage the two. Dieting pretty much involves reducing certain things while increasing certain foods. You want to make sure you're taking in enough. Tracking is a good way to do it.
All right, quickly, briefly, nutritious food. Let's come back to home. In Malawi,
Yes.
if somebody says they've had nutritious food, what can it be?
So we're talking about green leafy vegetables. We're talking about very colorful foods like carrots and beetroots. Those are very nutrient dense. And then you add in, for example, fish. Fish is one of the best sources of protein that a person can consume. Any type, especially things like bombe and things like kampango, because they are oily fish and they're very healthy. But also when you start talking about the fats, which we forgot to mention in the categories earlier on, you want to take in fats like coconut oil and olive oil, and reduce the other types of saturated fats and processed foods.
refined
Yes. Stick to whole produce. Don't go ahead and eat processed foods that have been refined. Even some that say they are low calorie foods, they have added sugar in them. You really don't want to do that.
No, thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
That's all we had in this segment of nutrition from Dr. Kaimira, a nutritionist from College of Medicine. Moving on with our program, we now go on to the segment of fitness. Gawo limeneli tikuyangana kwenikweni kufunikira kochita masewero olimbitsa thupi. Nde kumalo kumene tili kuno ndikupota project mu mzinda omwe uno wa Blantyre, kumene anthu osiyanasiyana ochoka mu zintchito zosiyanasiyana abwera pamalo pano chakumadzulo kuno kuti alimbitse matupi awo. Nde ndikhala ndikucheza ndi anthu osiyanasiyana mpulogalamu imeneyi makamaka mu gawo limeneli kuti timve kwenikweni kuti iwowo amaona kuti kufunikira kochita masewero amene olimbitsa thupi ndikotani. Tiyeni tikhale limodzi. Your name and why do you think fitness is important?
Thank you very much. I'm Dale Sandram. I think this is now the day-to-day life. One has to be fit. With the junk food around, you can't afford staying quiet. Obviously, you need to work out for you to remain in shape. So that's the whole reason why I normally come to the gym and then work out.
How long do you do this? Like on a daily basis?
I do this on a daily basis. This is my everyday life. Yeah, this is the kind of life I've actually chosen to live.
All right, thank
Sure.
you. All the best.
Thank you very much.
What is your name?
My name is Miss Ozzy.
How often do you do this?
I try to make it 3 sessions per week. Yes. When I'm feeling good that week, I can do the whole 5 days.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How important is fitness to you?
Well, it helps me keep in shape. It keeps me sane and takes out all my stress, I guess. Yeah.
Since you started and today, what's the difference?
With exercising, you basically change your whole lifestyle, spiritually, mentally, physically. So I can say that I wake up in the morning and I look forward to having a great day because I feel good about myself.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All the best.
Thank you.
tinakuonani mukuphunzitsa anthu mukupangitsa train anthu mwina kufunikira kuchita masewero ngati amene wandikuonani
kufunikira kwa masewero ngati amenewa amene timati ma step box aerobics ndikonena kuti thupi likakhala active mmatha kupewa timatenda ngati thamanga kwa magazi matenda a shugawa achipatala nthawi zina zake amakonda kunena kuti ngati mwadwala matenda a shuga tapita ndimukayambe kuthamanga sono izizi ndi ngati njira imodzi yopeweratu usanafike ku matendako tunde ubwino wina ndi umenewo komanso ubwino wina umakhuzanapo ndi nkhani zokhuzana ndi mental plus the physical coordination kuti munthu umatha kuganiza chinthu china chake mwasangasanga ndi kuchichita chifukwa chonena kuti ngati mmaona panali box imene munthu umayenera kuti ukupanga ma exercise ukudumphadumpha koma usapezeke kuti wakodwa
pene ukuganizira ndi mmene
zikuchitikira kuti nthawi yomwe zonse zikutani
ziziyenda pamodzi
so zimakuthandiza so ma coordination ya the mental ndi physical kuti zonse ziziyendera limodzi reflex thinking
mwina langizo kwa anthu ena amene amapezeka amakanisa kunena kuti ndi zinthu zovuta komanso mwina they don't need it. What advice can you give? Komanso mwina amakhala alibe nthawi.
Ndiyamba ndikomalizirako kuonena kuti alibe nthawi imeneyo ine ndimalesa kuyambira kalikali kuti palibe amene anganena kuti ndilibe nthawi chifukwa chani ndikunena kuti palibe kuti ndilibe nthawi tikaliphwanya tsiku lili ndi maola 24 timapita ku ntchito tikagwira ntchito maximum ndi 8 hours tichoka kumeneko tibwere ku nyumba za health akunena kuti munthu ukuyenera kugona wamkulu ngati ine maola osachepera 6 komanso osapitirira 8 ndiye tingotengapo 8 onde kuti tasala ndi 16 hours paipo kuti munapita ku ntchito mwagona 8 hours 16 yake ndiye muyambeni kundiwerengera kuti tikuti 24 minus 16 kusala 8 wina mwangwirisa ntchito yanji nthawi alinayo koma ndi ulesi wathu umene kuti pangisa kuti tipezerepo chifukwa chonena kuti nthawi palibe komano ifeyo timanena kunena kuti ndikwabwino munthu at least pasiku atapezako mphindi 30 zokha ndikupanga exercise ndizokwanira tima exercise za 30 minutes munthu utha kutuluka thukuta health wise umoyo wanu ndikuyamba kukhala kuti mukusinthika pang'ono ndi pang'ono kwanza mungotengera kuti mukupanga kangati ndiponso mumachichita mutani
Alright, tathokoza kwambiri.
zikomo kwambiri.
And that's how we conclude this segment of fitness. I hope and believe you have learned one or two things. That is how you can keep your body fit, how you can keep your mental and physical ability all working in coordination at once. Watch out for the next segment.